Let me share this to different places. Pretty much I'm done other than to shade and stuff. So I'm sorry. General, that's not what I want. No one watches it, but I don't care. At least I'm trying anyway. Alright, baby. One other place. DeviantArt. Again, probably. I usually try to submit it one of two places. Well, it won't let me do it on DeviantArt. Oh well. Let's get on with it then. Shall we? I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Oh, I want to talk a little bit today about field trips. And I want to tell you what got me started on this subject so y'all don't think I'm completely bonkers and going off the wall. I mean, yeah, probably a little bit. But anyway, y'all can think I'm crazy if you wanna. Don't hurt my feelings. I know I'm a little bit of an oddball. Okay, there's this jumpy type, zony type place next in the same shopping center that my job is in. Okay, that's fine and good. But today they had like over kids in there. A third of them didn't have masks. There's not supposed to be groups larger than 10, except in schools. And I'm sorry, I don't think that should include field trippy things. And I just, really just irritates me. But there's nothing I can do about it. They're all gonna be... And don't tell me that place is getting scrubbed down. There's no way in heck that they're cleaning it like it should be in between each and every kid that touches that stuff. But before I get on a tirade about it, because there's nothing I can do about it, other than be like, ew, germs. And this is why my country has, like, so many cases. The damn kids are spreading it around like wildfire. Like it's the it thing to do. Let's give Grandma COVID. Ugh. And then, not only that, then they had to come into my store and use the potty and stuff. Like, there's a reason that those places don't have potties right now, honey. $300 minimum to use my bathroom. Okay, let's talk about happier things. Okay, most of these stories happened when I was between... I don't think I had any field trips during college. So it happened, kindergarten till grade 12, most of them. These are all field trip stories. None of them in particular order. If I can remember what year I was in or close to what year I was in, then I'll let you know. Some of them I do remember what year, how old I was, and some I don't quite. So I do apologize for that. But I'll do my very best to keep them in the same year and to have them more or less coherent. And I would never encourage doing field trips right now with everything going on. But, once things get back to normal, field trips are great fun and all that good jazz. So, when I think my very first field trip that I kind of remember was to the zoo, and we had to run around the entire zoo, and after we got done we had to tell something, write a short little paragraph about something we learned and or did. I think I was in kindergarten, and we had to draw an animal that we saw there, and we were my mom usually was a room mom, and she usually went on field trips with me almost all the time. She did with my brother too, and she was escorting my little group around, and I don't remember, a few of them were my little friends, or at least I got halfway along with them. And the other ones, I just, I managed with them. And yeah, I think that's good. Okay. Sailor salt. I feel like I need to do some shading for her. And I kind of want the sailor salt written out for her. I have needs. Not all of them good needs, but I have needs. Next. Oh, that's not what I want. I'll never use any of these. I don't know if I like this or not. Oh, during the field trip, the kids kept asking to do, like, the way I don't know if they still have this, but they had, like, camel rides and stuff, and, like, little Vendy type machines with the little plastic animals in it. And they kept asking my mom if they could do it, and they didn't have any money to freaking do it. And she had like 10 or so kids there. There was no way in heck she could do it for everybody. She wouldn't have cared to have done it for one if everybody else had, but that's just a lot of money. And I think I had asked one time, and she's like, oh, we'll do it another time. We're always here. Which was true. We went to the zoo fairly often. So. But my mom was like complaining that these parents had sent their kids knowing that the zoo had this stuff, knowing that the kids would probably want to do it, and none of the parents had sent any money whatsoever with them. And then there was another time at the zoo, we were in the 5th grade, and again, my mom was with us, and same sort of scenario happened. But this time, there was one rich kid who was in my group, and they insisted on doing it. They're like, we're gonna do this. And my mom's like, okay, but you have to pay for it. And that just made everybody else miserable. She didn't want me doing it because she felt like that was... But she had to let the kid do it because it was like a group, thing or whatever. And the rich kid's mom was part of our little group too. And she's like, oh no, we're gonna let this happen. And then one time, I think it was the same time. No, this was a different time. My mom had, I think we were in the 4th grade. My mom had the kids with learning disabilities with her, including myself. None of us freaking could spell worth a hill of beans. And they wanted us to do some big long project. And they didn't give my mom anybody else to help her. And we were supposed to fill out this freaking big long sheet of nonsensicalness about the zoo animals. And this was before there were smartphones or anything like that. So my mom pretty much had to... And each one of these packet things that we had to fill out were slightly different. So it's not like she could have filled out one and then had, filled out the rest later on the bus or something. Each one had a set of different questions, and it was supposed to give you like a secret word or some stupid like that. Like they were trying to make this rather than fun. And like it was really stupid how they did it though. And again, she was the only one who was the only adult on that trip, or at least in my little group. And there was like 6 or 8 kids that she had with us, and none of them could freaking spell. Not a single one of them. Or not well enough to fill out the secret word thing. I hated when they tried to make field trips educational like that. Like, you shouldn't punish a kid to have fun. I mean, some of those were fun. But those big, long packets, I guess they were just making sure that we were paying attention or whatever. But God, you felt rushed going through it, trying to find all the stuff that you had to, because you only had like a couple of hours or so, and it counted as a freaking grade. So you couldn't really sit and enjoy the animals, which was part of going to the zoo. And then one time, I think this was one of the... I think Mom went with us. I can't remember. When I was in 7th grade, we went to the aquarium. Now, my friend Claire and I were there together. And another friend, I'm going to call him... we're going to call him Titus. That is not his real name, but he had blonde hair, so we're gonna go with Titus. And I were part of the same group, and my mom was the chaperone for our little group. And we were like, I was a A student, my friend Claire was a AB student, and Titus was like the same sort of, he may have been more of a C. But, they gave us this long, big old packet again. And it was obscure little things that we had to find information-wise. And some of them were harder to find. Now, they did go through the next day and gave us the answers and stuff, but it still was a lot of work. And that place was so packed. You couldn't move. You could barely get close enough to the little information thing to see what you were doing. And we were sort of rushed through the aquarium because, again, it was so packed you couldn't really stay in one place any length of time because everybody needed the same information. Luckily, it was the same questions and stuff, so we would kind of divide it up a little bit and give each other the answers. I don't think anyone finished that packet on their own in the aquarium. I really don't. And then another time, we went to, I think I was in the first grade. We went to Kroger. I know, that's like a weird place. I don't know if someone's parent worked there or if they just decided that we need to go to a grocery store for some reason. Why not? Babies among the first, or maybe they, I don't know why we were there, but we were at Kroger. I think it was Kroger. And we got to see how, like, the meat packing process, and talking about how, I may have been in kindergarten for that one, how meat was processed, how it was grown, that sort of thing, and what others, sort of stuff happens at a grocery store. It was quite fascinating. It was so cold in that meat packing area. I'm surprised they let kids back there. Although they didn't have any of the equipment going, they said to keep in a certain area, so I guess it was safe enough. And then, let me see. We did a lot of historical sites a lot of times. some of them not necessarily for pleasant historical things. Talk about that sort of history and how it wasn't right, but that's just how people lived back then, and that we can learn to do better here and now type of deal. Was basically what they were saying when it came to slavery and stuff, because I live in the South, and I think it's important to learn that history. Like, we went to a plantation several times. We went to Jamestown on one trip, which is one of the first, if not first, settlements in the United States. We went to Virginia and to Williamsburg, which again is over 200 plus years old. We went to Did we go to Vernon with my family or on a field trip? I think that was just something my family and I did. My family and I are super into history too. So we did that sort of stuff on our own time as well. So sometimes it's hard for me to remember which one it is. And type of thing. But I know we went to Jamestown on a school trip. And Williamsburg. Okay. Williamsburg trip was a week long or three days. Anyway, we went to Jamestown, Williamsburg, and somewhere else. Maybe a few of the plantations down in that area. Yellow plantations. If you've never been to one, I would recommend it. They are beautiful. But do be aware of their history. Oh, during this trip, I think we were at Jamestown. By the way, there's not much at Jamestown. There's like a neat glass blower, but that's about it. I see no reason in ever going back. Ever. Period. Williamsburg is worth visiting, though. Particularly if you're into colonial history. Anyway, Jamestown, we were having lunch with the class, and my aunt was with us as a chaperone. She was actually a teacher at the same school I went to in middle school. I think I was in the 8th grade. Anyway, Boop. And we're on one side, and someone had gotten up to go somewhere, and I was about to sit down with my aunt, and I noticed that the table was about to go over, and I flopped down. Like, those teachers were about to go everywhere if I hadn't sat down. I'm sorry that shading is not as exciting as else. And then, Williamsburg, a couple of these historical places do this too. They do ghost stories and that type of thing. Highly, highly recommend the ghost tour of Williamsburg. I didn't particularly care for the witch trial, but there. They make the audience participate. Yep. I want to make her chest a little bit darker. Oop. I don't feel good. I've got a little bit of a migraine. But I'm so hyped up on like caffeine right now. Must stay awake. Sleep? What is sleep? So that's part of why I'm scatterbrained right now. I highly doubt that she'll ever see this. But at least I can say I'm putting all the love and the effort into it. Oh, did y'all know that the Star Spangled Banner is based on a poem? I forget who the poet was. The flag that the on is actually in the Smithsonian. It doesn't look too good, but for being over 200 years old, I guess, or a little over 200 years old, and or being close to 200 years. I think it was written in 1912, like the British War. I think The Amazing Grace was also written on, based on a poem. A lot of those, I guess, country-esque songs, at least here in the United States, are based on poems. Okay. The bird needs some shading. Oh, one time we went to this, like, nature camp place for, like, a week. That was a lot of fun. I wouldn't have minded to go back there. I think I'm more or less done. Sailor salt. I forgot to shade the freaking back ribbon. Ugh. Oh, I popped my wrist. It didn't feel good. trying to think if there's any. I'm sure there is, but I just can't think of any offhand. Oh, one time we went to Biltmore. It's pretty. I'd recommend going during the spring when the flowers are out. Oh, and they have special exhibits sometimes. Like they had the temporary one time. They had the Titanic stuff another time. I'm trying to think of what else. By the way, there is, I don't know how common these are, but in a place relatively close to me, there is this town that pretty much they do nothing but like touristy stuff, and which is fine, you know, except for right now. And they had we have like a Ripley's aquarium and a Ripley's couple of other Ripley things, including a Ripley's Titanic exhibit thingy, like a permanent one. Honestly, in your town, just skip it for the most part. It is not worth the $50 or so that you spend to get into that thing. Like it's pretty, it was a lot smaller than I thought it would be, and it just, I feel like I get more from the small little exhibits somewhere else than I did there. That's specifically geared, and they try to make it like child like friendly or whatever, and so they have this like dog called Fufu, and it has stuffed dog in different places, and talking about how even, you know, all these things about Fufu the dog. They even have a display of Fufu the dog in this cage. It's like a stuffed animal or whatever. And come to find out, Fufu the dog died. Like most of the freaking people on the freaking Titanic. Like, we don't need to hear the freaking story about the freaking dog dying. Like, I know a bunch of other people died during that, but is it really necessary to tell these kids, like, get them all hyped up about the freaking dog, and then be like, well, you know, the dog died. Too bad, so sad. Oh no, that was just my thoughts on it. Like cheese. Oh, and on that same tour, it talks nonstop about Titanic. Like, there's pictures of what inspired James Cameron. I forget the artist, and something else about a lot of stuff about James Cameron, and this is where Rose met Jack or whatever. Like, for real? I don't need to know that. I guess it's kind of interesting, but that's not. I'm here for the real history. Not talking about James Cameron and his stupidness. I mean, I like James Cameron, but, like, that's not what I came here for. If I wanted to talk about James Cameron and his movie, I would be going somewhere else. I don't know. That's just my feeling on it. And then, one of the other morbid things that they do for this Titanic exhibit, when you get a ticket, they go, okay, you're gonna, here is your name. Like, they give you a name of an actual person, and you can see where you were on the boat if you had been this actual person. And then at the end, you get to find out if you had lived or not. That's like super morbid. Like super uber duper morbid. And this is geared again more or less to kids. I'm just like, oh my god. I don't know if I want to draw some more or if I want to call it a night. I think I'll call it for a night for right now. So, anyway, don't go to the Titanic exhibit thingy. It's not worth it. Go to Williamsburg. Go to Mount Vernon. Go to, Thomas Jefferson's home. Go to historical places. They're interesting, and some of them are quite beautiful. And I hope you all have a good night, and I'll see y'all next time. And I'm sorry for being a little ranty or whatever. Anyway, have a good night. Bye.